14 regarding fluoridation.
I am also against this article. It's interesting. I have 2 grandchildren who live in Grafton, and they're old enough now to be going to pediatricians and doctors and dentists, and their comment is, please come to Shrewsbury and drink Shrewsbury's water because of the fluoridation. My sense is that this is a benefit to us, and I realize there's a lot of other issues going on here, but I think it's worked well for us.
I would agree, and I think that we've been doing this since the 50s, and yes, it's somewhere around $50,000, but I think the public health benefit to it is well worth it. I've read other articles that contradict what this says, so I think there's arguments on both sides of it, but I don't know. I go by my own personal experience. I think the fluoridation worked, so I'm opposed to this article also.
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues' comments, and I also think that I think that something like this to me comes under the realm of public health. It's a public health issue. If it were to be something, and as Mr. DiPaolo just said, I mean there are arguments on both sides. But, I would argue that the science leans one way. But if this were something, to me it should come through the public health system. It should be something that is evaluated, and pros and cons on both sides. And an article coming in this way to a town meeting in this manner is only presenting one side of an issue. So for that reason, I am not supporting it.
I wish he was still in the room, because earlier this week when talking to Dale McGee about the school department budget, he mentioned that I think his words were, and I wish he were here to make the presentation himself, but the Centers for Disease Control have a variety of health policy wins, and fluoride is one of them. Or it's a clear victory, or at least in the eyes of that group of people, it's a clear victory relative to the health of teeth. And having grown up in a community that had it since I think not the 50s, but I remember that big debate about putting it in the water. It was done, and I can think of my own friends grew in a certain community with it. Their teeth are entirely different than other friends who grew up in a community without it. And I'm not trying to be a doctor, Mo, as you said, but I think from the reading I've done on it, it's not a move we should make, and as you said, Moira, certainly not a move in isolation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, John, anything on this?
I'm supportive of not recommending the article. I think we all have anecdotal experience, and it would have to come from a public health source.
Mr. Magato.
The Board of Health will weigh in this also prior to town meeting.
Very good. Is there a motion?
We vote not to recommend.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to not recommend Article 14. All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0 to not recommend. Okay,